We'll call this an update. It's June 5th, 2022. Um, Basically, me and my kid's mom has split up. And she's talking about getting a place of her own by herself. She's going to keep the kids here and basically move out on her own. Now, when she told me this, it was pretty surprising because I never thought that she would give up the kids, but I also have pretty much expressed to her that I will not accept her being a prostitute with my kids around. I have gotten a job where I'm away from the house a lot, and basically what I notice when I come back home is that there's a disruption. I've literally heard guys within, we'll say, speaking distance of my house talking about how they're pissed off that I'm home. What's he doing home? Why is he there? I've even heard somebody call it my bedroom. Why is he in my bedroom? This is like pretty disturbing shit, but at the same time, it's real. So about 2 nights ago, I came home early from a business trip because I had a bad tooth. And hold on a sec, I'm gonna wait for this car to go by. And I went outside to smoke a cigarette, even though it's a terrible idea while you have a bad tooth, by the way. But I went outside to smoke a cigarette, and I could hear somebody talking. It sounded like they were on the cell phone, on their phone. And at the same time, I could hear somebody essentially answering whatever is being said outside, but in the house. And long story short, I heard a guy talking about how he's got $100,000 in my house. I don't know if he means literally or if he means that he's invested into it, but his next words were, after I have $100,000 into that house, I have investors, and if these investors don't get a return, they're going to come kill you. Now, within that same conversation that I recorded, more or less, you can hear them talking about how when I go back out of town, they're going to have people on me. Ironically, I'm going to Boston, which is pretty infamous for, people disappearing. But from the sounds of it, if I had to really say what I think is going on, is that there is someone who conducts her to have sexual relations with her oldest child, my stepson. It sounds like a African American gentleman is basically giving instructions on what to do. And from what I gather, there is a group of men in a close location, but not right next to me, that is getting a live feed of what's going on. And they're basically watching this man give instructions of sexual activity between a mother and son, and then they charge people $5 a pop, ironically. Now, the interesting point is that last night I heard, it sounded like a podcast. I mean, honestly, it sounded like a DJ talking to a crowd. But realistically, I'm going to guess it was probably a podcast where he was talking, the gentleman that instructs like sexual activity was talking to a crowd of people about how a good friend of mine that I grew up with was going to be participating in sex with my baby mama, quote unquote, for $5. And he asked him, well, what are you going to do to her for $5? You're going to put it in her ass? And he said, yeah, I'm going to have her sit on it and ride me. And it seems to me like it's like this weird payback that I've done to someone, where they are forcing my mother's child into sexual activity with people who I've wronged in the past, and charging a stupid price for it, so that it's like almost a dumb idea not to do it, I guess, if you wanted to get back at somebody. And it seems like the big promotion is like you know, have sex with Steve's baby mama. Have your way with the mother of his children. And there was some talking about snitching. I don't know exactly who I supposedly snitched on, but I know that any person I ever snitched on somebody that I was close to, and I didn't feel bad about it because they had, well, we'll say, started the trend of snitching. So, yeah, that's what's going on. June 2022.